Welcome back to another edition of the Live Different podcast. I'm joined by my British co-host, and like all good British co-hosts, when England win something in sport,
we do have
they
to gloat
lean
slightly.
very much back into where they're from,
Absolutely.
rather than where they've chosen to live.
The country, the motherland, indeed. And yes, we did slaughter the Matildas.
Oh my goodness!
Now, it was quite sad. It
Too
has
soon.
to be said. It was quite sad. I did maybe nearly shed a tear, but then I remembered the
Where you're
country of
from.
my birth and went, hurrah! Off we go.
You just went way down in popularity again because you just used the phrase "slaughtered the Matildas." It is way too soon.
But I still do love the Matildas. But I'm just English.
You're just pleased that they were
originally.
slaughtered. Anyway, let's move on. We are joined by some very Aussie guests today who are equally as appalled in the phrase you just used. Anyway,
Okay.
let's welcome them. Tim Hood, our Beyond Pastor. Welcome, Tim.
Good job.
Here.
Andrew Main, Ormo Campus Pastor.
Yep.
And Jess Baisley, bringing up the right corner.
Jess is back,
Good
and
to
she.
have you.
Thank you.
Last time you were
She
on,
came
Jess,
back
you
again.
had just gotten off a plane.
Yes, and I
from
sat
Europe.
here and I did not give anything.
Can you actually
a lot.
remember that
Conversation.
occasion, or is it kind of gone in a blur?
I don't remember much. I didn't even know the reason why we were doing the podcast, and I was just sitting here.
because you're among good company.
Yes.
I
Just
sit
your
here every
presence.
week and don't give much either. So it's you were very welcome. It's good to have you, Jess.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Right, I think we should dive straight
Yes,
in,
your
Mr.
turn.
Jackson.
You do it.
So we are kicking off this evening's, afternoon's
You did it again.
podcast.
You did it again.
Just time is irrelevant
It
in
is.
this space. Anyway,
Yeah.
we are looking at your first or worst.
Now, Sarah, with this segment, I'm a bit disappointed because as our very, very lovely guest walked in, a couple of them looked at and went, I actually can't eat chilies.
I know. What is that, by the way, people?
One
that?
one just didn't want to eat chilies, but the other two legitimately said and then convinced us that they can't eat chilies.
Okay, well, as I am the care pastor and I am caring
Sure.
about the staff
Sure.
that we work with to
We bring
like
out the
that,
Weet
people,
Bix.
we will bring out the Weet Bix again because it is a win. So,
Yes, we're going to start with Tim Hood with first or worst. The question is your first or worst day. I know it was a long time ago for you, but your first or worst day at school.
whilst
and
eating a dry Weet Bix,
to take a big
Lovely.
bite of Weet Bix. So just pass that one over.
untouched by human hands.
Have a big bite of that and then continue to tell us your story of your first or worst day at school.
We'll give it a
Big
crack.
bite. Big bite. They got to talk.
Cheers, Ron.
You got to talk. You got to talk.
Yeah.
I actually went to 6 schools, so I had 6 first times. Not sure what was the worst or the first in this regard. One of the worst was, I was in Papua New Guinea. There was riots out the front of the school that actually spilled into the school, so we went into lockdown. But probably the worst first day was when,
Combo.
also in Papua New Guinea, where there was a school directly across the road from where we lived, but that wasn't the school that our organisation had booked me into. So we turn up there, first day, ready to start, not on the list. Mum's in tears, off we go.
Wow.
Painful. Still
That-
traumatised by that,
That's
I
a
think.
good story, but I've got to just explain this segment again. These stories are made even more hilarious by taking a really, really big bite. You were pretty timid there.
It's
And
conservative.
you allowed time for the saliva to mix in with the Weet Bix, and you were able to talk quite fluently.
I'm a gentleman.
Manny, you're another one who can't handle the chilies, so I want you to take the biggest bite you can manage it, and then start
You
talking
gotta-
straight
there's
away.
bits There's no gap.
in Tim's microphone
Yeah,
I
no,
shall
you can
move
go
just
everywhere.
a
Don't
tad.
worry.
I'm
These
gonna
guys are-
move.
yeah, that's very good. First or first or worst. Now
Go,
start
go.
talking now. Go.
I went to Dubbo. School. You're cleaning this up, man.
It's all right. Donald cleaned it up.
Dubbo Christian School.
Dubbo Christian School.
All of the classrooms are in this quadrangle, and in the middle was a big pergola, and everyone would leave their school bags in the middle, but all the classroom windows faced in. And one day I remember I was running late to sport in the back oval, came tearing down the path through the pergola, pile of school bags. I went to leap them. My foot caught on the strap of the first one, and I face planted in the pergola. And just heard the wave of laughter from every classroom.
Yeah.
I had blood coming down my knees and my elbows down. I was got up and bolted to the back. Yeah, I don't know. This probably wasn't my worst day at school. It's just one I remember.
Story. Yeah, no, excellent. Made all
There
the
was
more
blood and
entertaining.
gore.
by the Weet-Bix.
Well, I want Jess to just repeat that feat.
Now, Jess, I'm not going to point fingers, but I did say there was someone who just didn't want to eat chili. Didn't have a medical reason not to, but just didn't want to. I'm not going to point fingers. But which would you prefer? I'll let you have the choice. Would you like a chili or a Weet-Bix? Are you going to be...
Oh, you're softening
Gonna be
in your old
brave,
age,
or are you going to
Mr.
be
Jackson.
safe? Brave
So you can
or
get a whole
safe?
Weet-Bix in, Jess?
A whole. I
both.
can't do a whole week piece.
Well, I couldn't
Come
really
on,
either,
with
could I?
chili?
Huh?
Chili?
I don't know.
Come on.
Can you just decide?
Do you want me to do it first?
Yep, go for it.
Oh, Mr. Jackson, this is what we do.
Just to show you that you can
Okay,
do
go.
it, okay?
No, but you like spy. You had the whole chili.
Okay, first or worst. Here we
First
go.
or worst. It was similar to mayonnaise. When I was in...
This is a recurrent theme, by the way. Red face,
When
can't speak.
I was in high school, you had to walk through the junior school to get to the high school, and you towered above all these little kids, and they were all very smart and very cheeky. And this, just swallowed. This one day, I was walking through, and they were playing ball sports everywhere. There were like hundreds of them, and the ball of basketball landed square on my head, and everyone thought it was hilarious. And these little kids just laughed, and I felt. Very embarrassed. That's the end of my story.
So this was just like an item in my diary. So I'm just interested in what's our viewership because this is kind of entertaining.
Just spread the word, all right?
We just watched Mr. Jackson die each week, basically.
I said to myself, just don't swallow it. But I have now.
There we go.
Do you want chili?
You sell it
You
so
want
well.
a chili, Jess?
Are the bigger ones like worse or better?
You want me to try it?
Which one's better?
Oh,
Also-
he's in big time.
Oh my gosh.
I think they're better. Oh, they're not. No, they're fine. That was residue from the other one. Come on, we've got to keep this
Okay,
moving.
sorry.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to...
Yeah, no, they're fine.
Okay.
Just take a big bite of that.
Okay,
Like-
go,
okay.
Jess.
First or worst day at school. Ready? Go.
Oh no, these are spicy.
No, they're not.
Worst day of school was I used to ride my bike to school and used to love it. Mum used to head to work off I went on my bike. I swallowed it too. Oh my gosh. Sugars. This is hot. I'm not doing well.
I told you to do Weet-Bix, Jess.
Anyway, I was going on my bike under the tunnel. Oh my
Tunnel.
There's tears.
I rode over a rock and I fell off my bike. And it was the worst because I had great. Oh my God.
Cut to an ad. Those
really
second
struggling.
chilies are really hot. They just take a while to kick in. Damn.
And my chain off my bike was off and then I had to walk to school.
It's a very traumatic experience.
I know.
This is just
and
a
I had
traumatic
to go to the first aid office and I had bandages all over me before I even started the day of school. I'm really good.
Let's put her ad. Let's cut to an ad. Thank you, Sarah. Your turn next week. It's the final episode, and you're coming. All right.
If we're really honest, every one of us has big questions about life. Like, why am I here? What is my purpose? Is there a God? And what happens when I die? But in the busyness and the distractions of life, so often we don't stop, pause, and ask these really important questions. Alpha is a great place to stop and ask the big questions of life and faith. Why don't you try Alpha?
Okay, well, it's good to have you back, peeps. We nearly had to call the paramedics at that moment.
That
It
was a longer
quite
break.
Severe.
That was a longer break than we usually take.
Yeah,
between
everybody
cuts.
okay?
Yes, I think we're good.
Everybody okay? And the
Yeah.
warning at home, do not try this at home, people.
I've
It's
always wanted to
actually
do something.
quite dangerous.
Always wanted to do something where you could say that. So yeah, thank you. Bucket list. Yeah.
Well done, Jess.
I got it.
Thank
from
you.
I'm very
Good
proud
job.
of you,
Good
Jess. Well
job.
done.
Well
Put us
done.
off
Put us
Jess
to
for a
shame.
moment.
I feel like you sit in front of a camera and you egging me on.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have
totally.
done that.
Totally. No, I'm proud of you. Well done.
Oh, okay.
Okay, what are we here for now? No, I remember. So
Regroup.
yesterday, Thanksgiving Day, another fantastic. Like I said to Redlands, Thanksgiving Day is my highlight of our year. That moment where red bags are brought forward and they fill the stage. It's just an amazing time.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Pretty
incredible,
awesome.
incredible.
It was actually my first year of
Yeah.
physically being here. and seeing how many red bags actually
So
come.
where were you last year, Sarah Watterson?
Well, I was actually at a wedding of my nephew. So, you
That's
know,
fair.
shout out to Gus. But anyway, no,
Yes.
I wasn't here. But so this year was my first chance to actually see in real life how many people so incredibly generously
Yeah.
give. And it's just incredible.
So you are the care pastor. This is
I am.
like your puppy, your baby. This area of ministry. You oversee it. You're invested in it.
Yeah.
Tell me if you can describe it. What's going on in your heart when you see like photos and videos across campuses of all the red bags coming forward? What describe what
It's just
fills your heart?
awesome. It's just awesome because I get to sit in a place where I see the people that these are actually going to. I know these people that are actually going to have their lives impacted by this food, and so we go from our shelves get to the end of the year and they're looking a little bit sad, and we get to fill them up again, and our shed is absolutely bulging.
Yeah.
And we then know how many lives we're going to be able to impact over the next few months and over the next year, and it's just incredible. We really are a really, really generous church, and we get to impact so many people across our city and across the whole of the communities that we're actually reaching out to. It fills my tanks. It fills my tank, Sam. It really does.
I think we need to have a little click counter on how many times you said incredible and amazing.
I know. Well, it really does.
Times.
It does get so exciting. You know, when you know how many people you want to reach out, how many lives you want to impact, because we know that Jesus does make a difference in people's lives. And we're getting the chance to fill their bellies.
Yeah.
But also we know that we want to impact their lives. We don't just want to fill their bellies, we want to fill their souls as well. Yeah. And the fact that we're reaching out and we are going to be able to fill so many bellies means that we're going to be able to build so many different connections, build so many different relationships, and that's what's going to make an impact in people's lives, which is awesome.
As you think about the next 12 months, and we obviously we changed, and I think people watching this will know for sure by now the change that we've made this year. As you look at the next 12 months, what's in your heart? What do you hope to see God do through our red bags over the next 12 months?
I think it's going to be really exciting. We've kind of gone from a place where we were helping a few thousand to where we're helping tens of thousands of people across our communities. We are looking to give out over 10,000 meals over the next 12 months, which is, I mean, that's an enormous number.
Huge.
It's an enormous number. So we had to sit back and kind of go, okay, how can we do this to the best of our ability? How can we go from, we started off when it was Mackenzie, and I think it's 21 years ago now, which is pretty awesome. And we've grown to a place where we're like, okay, we're one of the big boys now. We've got to make a big impact. We've got to do this strategically. We've got to steward well everything that you guys give us. And we had to sit down and go, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this in the best way possible? And we recognised that meals and people coming together around their table, sitting down and actually eating a meal is really impactful. And so we decided to go after that. And so we put together 6 pretty simple meals. I mean, they're not complicated, but that was where we went, okay, right, if we can get the ingredients to make 6 meals, but that means we can give people a choice. So they come, and we're not giving everybody like a tarkadal, because not everybody likes tarkadal. I mean, you probably would.
Don't even know what it is. You're coming out with words at this podcast like jeet and tarkadal. I just have to go and look up later and understand
I'm
what you're talking
educating
about.
I'm elevating you culturally. Just be grateful.
I appreciate that.
But, it was one of those things where we wanted to give people a choice. So we're not kind of instigating, you have got to have beans on toast 6 meals a week, 6 days a week, 6 meals a week. So it was like by introducing 6 meals, we know across our city and across our communities, we got hugely different demographics of people. So we've got a lot of people who come from very culturally diverse backgrounds to us. So by introducing a few culturally good meals, we've kind of covered them. And then we've got people in the city, so they don't necessarily want a tarkadal because they can't actually make it. But we've got things like instant noodles for them and tins of soup, which work really well there. And then we've got over on Macleay Island. So again, a different demographic. So it's like, how do we create 6 meals that are simple, but that will be able to benefit as many people as possible? So, it wasn't just Sarah on her own that sat down and came up with 6 ingredients that included chilies and Weet Bix, if it had just been me. No, it was a team of us, and we sat down and we spent a lot of time working it through. But I am so excited to see how this is really going to impact so many people.
I think this is the 3rd time I've heard you talk about this in a setting like this, and I'm just impressed by your passion, like for this ministry. It's
See, look, I'm eating the microphone. I get so excited about it.
just, and really excited to see what happens over the next 12 months.
Seriously, this is where I see God do amazing things out in the community. I mean, it's wonderful. Church is wonderful, and I love getting together with fellow believers. But to be able to go out to where people are, where they are in their situation in life, is just incredible. And we get to do that through the practical love of these meals. It was awesome.
At Redlands yesterday, as we led up to that moment to bring the red bags forward, we talked about the table and how precious the table actually is in God's heart. So in the tabernacle, he has the table made of gold, and the bread of the presence is there, speaking of God's heart to sit with us and have a meal. And then
I love that.
Jesus has lots of meals with the bloke who wrote the letter that we've been focusing on through this podcast. You know, and he said, when you have a party, don't just invite your friends, invite the poor, the lame, the crippled to come and eat with you. And the table with food on it is precious in the heart of God, and he loves to see people, friends and family and strangers even, gathering around the table. That's why I love that. I love that element in what we're doing with these red bags.
Yeah.
Tim Hood, I remember. Sarah's very passionate. We're going to move on to our guests as well.
Well, is he not as passionate? I think you'll
I
find
think he
is.
would be. Well, that's what I was going to ask him. Mate, I remember, it might have been my first Thanksgiving Day actually on staff, I remember watching video of the Mackenzie service and you being up on stage and speaking of how you felt in a moment when all those red bags were brought out. If you can remember it, I'm sure you can, or maybe it's mixed in with all the Thanksgiving Days you've been a part of over the years. What goes on in your heart when you see those red bags brought forward, and what are you thinking about?
Look, it is emotional, and I don't know that one specifically because I've had the opportunity to do it 10 times. Standing on a stage and seeing the sea of red bags being brought down. But going back even a few weeks before that, to see families grabbing those red bags that are empty, taking them home with them, and then turning up on Thanksgiving Day, knowing that you've had families who have gone and shopped together, you've had life groups gone and shopped together, a community that's gone, there's a need here, and we can do something about it. So when we stand there on Thanksgiving Day and see the sea of red bags come down, it's very emotional because you see people who've captured the heart of God. Yeah. You've seen people that have captured the heart for others and are doing something tangible by filling it with some food, bringing it down, and trusting the ministries we have here that they're going to get them into the hands of people that are in need and share the love of Jesus with them. So I'm always overwhelmed by it. Everywhere we do it, it fills the stage. Yeah. There's hundreds of bags coming in every one of our campuses. Together, almost 2,000 red bags come through that will, as Sarah talked about, filling those shelves, creating opportunity for our volunteers to keep being the hands and feet of Jesus into the year ahead. So it's amazing.
Yeah, brilliant. Question without notice for you two. Has anyone done the math on how many bags we need to get to 10,000 meals?
Lots.
A lot.
How many meals are in a bag?
A lot of bags. There's 6 meals, so those two bags create 6 meals.
I can't do that. We'll have to do that maths and work that out.
Yeah,
it's
no.
About 3,000 bags.
3,000 bags. Yeah. Okay.
3,333.
3,333. Oh, because it's the right.
Oh, good job.
Just keeps repeating.
Times 3.
Good job. Yeah, well done. I was away that day.
I'll think about that, Mass, when we continue the podcast. Bring you an update.
Andrew, mate, great to have you on.
Thanks.
Of all of us, you've been here the longest, and maybe if we added up how long we'd each been here, you'd still come out on top. Over that many years, and as Sarah said, I don't mean in age, I mean in time at Gateway.
Yeah.
Good save. Good save.
Thank you.
Good save.
I'm sitting in between some people that
In 21 years of Thanksgiving Days and 25 years as Party Gateway, what's been a story that comes to your mind about the impact of this ministry in its various forms over those more than 2 decades?
Yeah, good question, Sam. I struggle to probably land it in a story. Probably the story for me is the growth. I remember the first Thanksgiving Days where there was a handful of things donated. And actually the first couple of Thanksgiving Days, the first one I can remember was a marquee, an old marquee that was put up in the top car park at Gateway Mackenzie.
Wow.
And it was really just a meal and coffee and a little bit of community time after the service or around the service. And so probably for me, just seeing the growth in it and the growth in generosity. Yeah. And I think too, it's something that engages the heart of everyone. Like, you don't have to be a regular part of our church to recognise the value in being generous to those in our community in need. So I love when people that don't regularly attend our church come and have a great experience of our church and our community, but also are able to be generous, because I think it's just the heart of God in all of us.
it's the creative intent in all of us is to actually care for the needs of others.
Yeah.
And so I love that this reaches well beyond, on the day, well beyond just those that regularly attend and worship with us. And so, yeah, just the growth in that's been awesome to see.
Yeah. It is cool. I got a message this week through our Facebook page of someone who I don't recognise the name, don't recognise the face, saying, I've got a couple of red bags. I'm not going to be there on Sunday. When can I bring them in?
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's awesome.
And the buy-in from the wider community is inspiring as well. Jess, let's come across to you. What's something you remember that sticks in your heart when you think about Thanksgiving Day and what you've seen over your few years on staff?
Yes. I love Thanksgiving Day. I love the community feel, everyone coming together. But I actually remember a specific story that actually happened last year. I just remember as people were bringing all their red bags, looking over and seeing one of the women in our congregation who had only been coming to our church for a short amount of time, and she actually received red bags. She needed red bags for her and her family. And I remember seeing her with her 2 kids and them bringing up red bags.
Oh, wow. Cool.
And that made my heart so overjoyed.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just reminds me of like the story in the Bible where, you know, Jesus and his disciples are sitting at the temple, and the widow woman who was poor, she came and she placed 2 copper pennies in the offering.
Yeah.
And then she walked away, and Jesus said to the disciples that her treasures is more greater than anyone else, because she gave all the poverty she had, she gave it all.
Yeah.
And she gave everything. And that, just to see that of families who are also probably doing it tough in our congregation come together and they bring bags forward.
that's
to
awesome.
help
So
us.
good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
right, that Thanksgiving Day is a celebration in the year that is focused on the red bag moment, but there's so much more to celebrate as we come together as a community and celebrate the coming together of such a diverse church, diverse backgrounds, diverse socioeconomic situations, all that sort of stuff. And it's brilliant.
Yeah,
It's
huge
brilliant.
celebration.
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Absolutely. Well, we have diverted slightly from our theme on 1 Peter.
We have.
But I think
it's okay.
it's okay. I
think it is.
Thanksgiving Day is a big
Pretty
moment to celebrate.
big moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for taking that diversion, because I
okay.
appreciate being able to celebrate what everybody has done over the
tell.
last 24 hours. It's good. We like the
Look,
diversion.
let's just be honest. If you haven't cottoned on yet, we actually record this podcast on Thursday before the Sunday. We just pretend that it's Monday. It's all
the He's secrets. giving all the secrets
we
away.
know that Thanksgiving Day is going to be incredible.
And I run at quite a high excitement level all the time
Yeah, that's
anyway.
true.
You may
That's
have
fair.
picked up.
Sarah, we pray for Karen Freiling, who shares an office with Sarah.
She does.
Just high energy all the time.
No
passion
lack of
flowing.
integrity. Sarah's
No, it's
presenter.
great. We love having you, except when the Lionesses are playing the Matildas in a semi-final or whatever it was. Then you can stay at home. Anyway, we're going to finish with our best 30. So,
And
Andrew
we call
Main,
it...
say it properly. Just do it.
No, I can't.
You can.
I can't.
You
Those
can.
words cannot come out of my mouth. We call this the Fast and the Furious segment, where you just
don't
go
laugh.
for
It's
it.
not funny anymore. Every time.
Come on. It's much
Have you
better.
ever?
I've not done
be
this.
happy? Would you be happy if your preaching was described as furious?
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
We know, almost fast. I'm talking about furious. Though.
Yeah, well, for today I will.
Yeah,
Okay.
see,
No,
you like that, don't you? See,
We don't have a stinger.
Best
It's-
30 is not... That's a bit boring.
But that's what it's called.
Yeah, that's boring.
My
With that
best
lead in-
30 and, sorry,
Your best 30. So
I've
it's
got
30 seconds from
30
your message. Lockie's got the timer.
Here we go.
And
There
you've got to
will
look
be a
down the
beep
barrel of
beep
the
noise.
camera and you've got to preach your best 30 seconds from your message yesterday, which we've just discovered is actually a
On
couple of days
Sunday.
away.
Coming in a
It's
few
coming.
days.
So we will talk to people from Ormo and see
Yeah.
how prepared you
Yeah.
were today for
and
your
they'll
message
go,
on Sunday.
You didn't say that at all.
No.
What was that?
Are you ready?
Great, let's
Pastor
do it.
Andrew, here we go.
Right.
So I'm going to give you a count in from 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to preach.
looking
You ready?
down the barrel.
Looking down
Ready?
the barrel of the camera.
Okay.
3. You do it,
2,
Sarah.
1, go.
Hey, when we fill a red bag, we aren't just putting food on people's tables. In the Old Testament, the hospitality code was a huge thing. But when you showed hospitality to someone, you showed them welcome. You showed them protection. In a nomadic society, it was a matter of life or death. If you got lost, to have someone welcome you into their home, and that you also proved to them that there was an absence of hostility. That speaks to the heart of God. He wants to welcome people. He wants to provide for them and give them protection. And he wants to show them that between heaven and earth, there's no
Ding, ding,
hostility.
ding, 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 ding.
Nice.
You're out.
How's that?
Sarah
Good
loves coming in
job.
with the buzzer.
I do. I like the
it's
noises.
it's like you're in the
Awesome.
moment there. You're
I
like,
know.
and you suddenly hear this ding, ding, ding,
I
ding,
know.
ding.
Yeah, but you got to follow the rules.
You do have
Stuff
to
to
follow
Very
the rules.
important.
Sundays.
Very.
You have to follow the
Yeah,
rules.
I'm
of-
actually available. I give myself out bar mitzvahs and sermons.
Right.
If there is like a
30
beep,
minutes,
beep, beep
we'll
noise
go.
needed,
Okay.
yes, I'm
what about
available.
members meetings? You do members meetings as
I
well?
do all things.
All right.
I was
But all
sitting
manner
in-
of noises.
I was sitting in church next to a friend of mine growing up who, when he decided he used to get paper bulletins, he'd scribble on it times up and,
And
just
hold it
the sign up.
Cruel.
Very good. Am I doing it today? Am I,
This
'cause I'm-
is you,
yes,
Mr.
okay.
Jackson.
All right.
You're up.
Come on, Sam.
Okay.
You ready?
Here we go. I think so. I'm just waiting for the timer to
Okay,
come up.
I'm going to count you in.
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go.
The picture of heaven when Jesus comes back and restores all things to perfection, recreates the world. The picture that Isaiah uses to describe this moment is a table full of the best foods you can imagine. All we're told is that there's going to be the best meats and the choicest of wines. I reckon there'll be a whole bunch of other food there as well. And God's heart is to see as many people as possible seated at that table, ready to eat and enjoy that meal. As we give out red bags this year, let it be an invitation, not just to fill people's bellies, but an invitation to join them at God's table. That was too enthusiastic.
Good job, by the way.
Jess,
You were
Jess
right
leads,
there.
Jess leads kids ministry at Redlands, and I think she would love you to be there on a Sunday because
Happy.
I tend to
Happy
go a bit
bring
long.
my beep beep noise, Jess.
So when she's had enough of the kids, which that moment never comes because Jess loves kids, but there's a big twang and
Twang.
anyway,
Is there?
thanks so much for joining us on the Live Different podcast. Thanks to our
Thank
guests.
you for coming.
I think we need to give Jess a little clap for
I think we do.
For the
the chilies.
Thanks, Jess.
Thanks, Don.
Jess.
Thanks, Lockie. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
watching and
we
listening.
will be here same time next week. See you there.